You've referred Dr. Fauci for criminal prosecution to the DOJ. I'd just love to get your overall assessment. One, of this remarkable clip. Why is he shaking? And then two, what's going to happen to Dr. Fauci?
Well, the exchange where he does lie to Congress is over gain of function. This is where you take two different viruses, combine them, or combine the genetics for them, and you create a new virus that doesn't exist in nature that increases its transmissibility to people, or its infectiousness, or its lethality to people. And he's saying, no, we never funded this in Wuhan. They did fund it, and it was gain of function. We now have private emails that were discovered through FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, that show that he knew that he had done this. And so the reason I think he's shaking is he's concerned because he's been caught in a lie. And we're not done. I referred him twice for criminal prosecution in the Biden administration. I've referred him once for criminal prosecution to the Trump DOJ. We have worked with the Trump administration and finally gotten every document, just about every document you can imagine. We've been going through these for months now. We found evidence that he destroyed federal records and he directed others to destroy federal records. These are separate crimes. Now, there's a question whether or not his pardon will cover that. And we've asked him to come and testify. And people say, well, why do you ask him? Why don't you make him? Because the way the process works is you ask people first, and if they will testify, then you don't have to subpoena them. If you do have to go to a subpoena, then there may well be a court challenge, and we have another battle that we have to fight as well. So right now we have asked him for information about his conversations and his use of non-governmental means of communication to do federal work. And we're going to look at what he gives to us in the next week or two. We're going to see if he will voluntarily come in and testify. But if he doesn't, we will subpoena him. So our hope is that we get a voluntary appearance. But at the very least, he's going to have to answer our questions concerning gain of function, but also destruction of records. If you'll recall, when they brought in one of his colleagues, a David Morenz, who worked with him at the NIH, Fauci acted like, oh, never knew him, hardly ever saw him. We have dozens and dozens of emails over years between the two. And Morenz was the one who said, oh, yeah, we had this FOIA lady over there who taught us how to avoid searches and requests. So what they'd do is they'd take, like, there was a virologist by the name of Christian Anderson who got an $8 million grant from Fauci after he supported Fauci's request to write an article saying that this couldn't have come from a lab, it had to come from nature. What they did with Anderson's name is it had a bunch of S's in it. They changed the S's into $signs so they wouldn't show up on a FOIA search. What I think is ironic about it is he was out there looking for money and shilling for money all the time up here. So they changed the S's in his name to $sign to avoid FOIA searches. There are a lot of shenanigans going on. Things that really, you talk about Watergate or you talk about scandals, they all pale. The COVID cover-up, I wrote a whole book on this, Deception, the Great COVID Cover-Up, because there's never been a cover-up more thoroughly documented, because we got most of their conversations, we got most of their emails, and we've seen them behind the scenes saying, oh my goodness, I'm pretty certain this looks like it was manipulated in a lab and came from a lab and not nature. Almost simultaneously, they're saying in public, no way, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist if you think it came from a lab. So publicly saying one thing and privately the other, probably so remarkable to ever catch somebody in such a cover-up.